Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. I'm here with episode 74 of the Rise Up and Share Your Soul's Medicine transmission. I'm so delighted to be here with you. Today, we're going to talk about something that is so important, the topic of perfectionism and how perfectionism really kills momentum. I mean, sometimes it literally can keep you stuck and stagnant, but I'm gonna break that down, the disease of perfectionism, and it's something that I've certainly had to heal. It's an ongoing journey, and in my work with my clients and my students, it's one of the most um, the things that sabotages forward movement the most. And what's interesting is that often you don't even realize that that's what's happening. Okay, so before we begin, let's go ahead and tune in. So I invite all of you to take a few deep cleansing breaths. And as you breathe, let's just visualize our heart like a magnet, and it's calling back to you all of your energy, all of your focus. If any of your energy is anywhere else, just calling it back. Just let your magnet do your heart do what it does best, right? It magnetizes and it radiates. So right now, magnetizing all that energy back to you. And then take a moment to connect with your roots and visualize those roots going deep into the heart of the earth. And now you're releasing, right? Letting go, releasing anything that is not yours, anything that's unnecessary, anything that doesn't serve you. And the beautiful thing is that you don't need to control this in any way. You're just allowing your soul to do this for you. So you don't need to sit here and analyze, well, what am I releasing? What am I calling back to me? There's a time and a place for that. But in this moment, just allow your soul to do that for you. And so as that happens, as you fully arrive, as I said already, we welcome your beautiful soul. So everyone soul who's watching here live or who's watching the replay, welcoming guardian angels, archangels, those divine ascended masters like Mother Mary, like Kuan Yin, like Green Tara, who walked a human life, who understand the heroic human journey and are here as allies. So we welcome them. And we welcome, of course, the divine Mother, Father, God, Creator, Creatrix, Source, Universe, whatever you call that, really that presence, that force of unconditional love. We welcome that energy here to guide this conversation about perfectionism. And so, what's so interesting is that in truth, you are already perfect, right? In truth, we are divine beings having a human experience, and your essence is perfect. There's nothing broken about you, there's nothing that needs to be fixed. That you are perfection, you are a hologram of the divine. And yet we are here, right? We are here on the earth plane having a human journey, a human life. And so, of course, we have that experience of having these different parts of us that have wounds, that have burdens. And so, when I'm talking about perfectionism, I'm talking about from the ego's perspective, that disease of perfectionism. Okay. So, what is perfectionism? Perfectionism is an action. So, I want you to really think about perfectionism as an action that you take. You take actions that are perfectionistic actions, or you don't take action from that place. And so, really, what will be helpful is for us to normalize this and not, again, it's not a judgment. There's some degree of perfectionism that we all it's just part of the human experience. And so what's really helpful is to identify what is the thought that is causing perfectionism. And so, first of all, let's look at the action of perfectionism. So, what can it be? Maybe you are being guided to teach a class and you just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off and putting it off because you're like, oh no, I still have to get more training. Oh, wait, I still need to get the right clothes to wear. I need to get the right mic. I need to get the right camera. I need to wait for the right time of the year. I need to have the right title for it. And, I'm sharing all those because Those are all things that my brain has offered me. Now, I do want to say, of course, there are times when there's very real things that your soul might very um, have a very, what am I trying to say? A legitimate guidance for you that, yeah, you know what? It would be really helpful if you get a microphone because your audio will be better. So I'm not talking about those things that are just refinements, right? We keep up leveling, we keep refining. Of course, that's part of the process. But I am talking about those little things that are the things you keep telling yourself, well, that's the reason I can't do this yet. And it's coming from this place of perfectionism, like it's got to be perfect. Even if you're not thinking, well, I don't want it to be perfect, because that used to trip me up. When I would hear perfectionism, I would be like, oh, there's no way I'm not a perfectionist because I just know there's no way I'm going to create something that's perfect. But that's not what it means. It means that there's a part of you that's feeling that what you have to offer is not good enough and you have to wait to offer it until it's better. And it's not coming from your soul, it's coming from a fear. And so that's what I was going to say. It's really understanding, what is the thought? Is it, I don't have enough to offer? People are going to reject me. I'm going to be humiliated. I won't have enough people that are attending my class or my offering or receiving value from what I have to offer. People will compare me to others. I'll get really tired and exhausted. What is the thing? What are the thoughts that are keeping you from sharing your medicine because it's like, well, it's not ready yet, right? And so obviously, when I give all these examples, most of my clients and students are entrepreneurs, spiritual wellness entrepreneurs, right? Who are already sharing their medicine, maybe already teaching classes or have a holistic center or want to do more healing in their work, or they're therapists and they've been therapists for years, but they're like, oh, I want to incorporate more mindfulness or more mysticism into my offers. So wherever you are with this, and if you're not in the wellness field, of course, you are welcome. I absolutely have those clients as well. The vast majority is in the wellness field, but I have those other clients that are drawn to me as well, that they're in marketing or they're lawyers, and they're like, but they have such a deep connection to the divine, right? They are spiritual and they know that they're here to share their medicine through their career. And so in this moment, the question is, what area of your offer, what area of your medicine, where is perfectionism, like really bringing its sneaky little head, right? And it's holding you back from just getting started. Because look, the divine feminine way of leadership, which is what all these transmissions are about, is we perfect as we go. We refine as we go. That's how it is. Right? And that doesn't mean that you show up and do sloppy work or that you're not professional, of course. And I've given this example many, many, many times. I think I have close to 400 videos on YouTube. And you can go back to the beginning and you can see that I was definitely a work in progress. I mean, I still am, but you can look back and, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, it was definitely um, it was definitely less clear about what I shared, or there was more, maybe like more rambling. It was just, and I'm saying that with a lot of compassion. I'm so grateful for my past self that just started and was like, I know this isn't going to be perfect, but I just need to start because that's what my soul is saying to do. And it was in that perfecting as I go, as I got clear on, well, what is my message? What am I talking about on YouTube? Who am I talking to? It was in the refine as you go, perfect as you go, show up and be vulnerable as you go, be authentic as you go, and then deal with the feelings of vulnerability that come up, process them, have compassion for yourself. That was what got me to this point. And I'm not saying I'm at the end point. There's like obviously always expansion, always growth, but that is the wounded masculine, is that paradigm of it has to be perfect. You have to be perfect before you offer your medicine. And of course, as I said in the beginning, the paradox is you are perfect, but it's like that's the wound that many of us still carry with us. And so in this moment, I invite you to think about your medicine, whether it's a creative project, whether it's a class, whether it's client sessions, whether it's sharing your website with the world, whether it's, I mean, for some of you, it might be as simple as making a phone call or sending an email or writing a blog post. Maybe you're just writing a blog post that you share with five of your close friends. That's fine. That's how I started, right? I remember when I started my newsletter years ago. I mean, this was back in 2009, and I was so terrified. It's so interesting, right? It's like I literally had no one on my list, but yet I felt that I would send my first blog post and like millions of people would see them. But the truth was nobody was on my list. And but it was still took so much courage because I was sharing, personal stories. And I just had like maybe five, maybe 10, I don't know, six people. They were close friends who were on my newsletter, right? And that's what I needed to do to begin. And back then, I have to say it was really nice because I would actually get feedback, right? People, because they were my friends and they would be like, oh, I love that. Or that was such a nice example. Now I'm in such a different place. It's more like I send the newsletter and it's like crickets, you send it out into the void and you don't really hear much. I mean, occasionally I do, but that's part of the muscle we build when we're in service and leadership. And so I want to show you the card that I pulled today from this beautiful deck, Magical Spirit Oracle. And it says, it's time to leave the old behind. And the key word is rebirth, shedding the chrysalis. And if you don't know, the chrysalis is often people call it the cocoon around the butterfly, like around the caterpillar that the caterpillar weaves, but it's called a chrysalis. Shedding the chrysalis, taking risks. I mean, how perfect is this? Because this is about taking your soul guided risks. And perfectionism is the squasher of the momentum and the quantum leaps and the soul led risk. So let me show you this beautiful card. Look at her. I love that she's got this like flowers blooming out of her crown. She's in this like cosmic pool of flowers. There's a butterfly on her shoulder. Look at that. It's like shed the chrysalis, take risks. And so let's shine the light in this moment on where is perfectionism slowing you down. So just take a couple of breaths. Hello, Deborah. Take a couple of breaths and just ask your soul that question. And if you're new to my channel or to these transmissions, these weekly transmissions, if you're like, well, how do I ask my soul? You literally just ask, right? You ask out loud or you ask internally. You can bring your hands to your heart if that's helpful. And you're asking, where is perfectionism slowing me down? And receive the answers in your heart. Even if you're not aware yet of what the answers are, just feel like this energy going into your heart. The answers are there. And maybe you'll become clear when you take a walk or you take a shower or you wash the dishes or you sweep, but you're asking your soul and your soul always answers, where is perfectionism slowing me down? And remember that your soul has no judgment at all. And if you have an answer, if you received an insight, feel free to share in the comments. And I know for me, what comes up as soon as I ask is, it's really was interesting was Instagram, which I was like, I've been on such a journey with Instagram, but it was this like, just show up more. And it doesn't have to be, it's like, there was like a softening. There was like a noticing that there's like, oh, there's this part that's like, I don't know. I'll have to explore it more on my own, but that's like, creating some sort of filter or some sort of like, hoops I have to go through before I share. And it's not always the case. I mean, there's many times where I just do it naturally, but I'm feeling that that's what came up for me. And, I do want to share that after this at 12 starts my 5-day soul jumpstart. It's more like a soul quantum leap journey that's starting today at 12 Central. I will try to have time after I'm done with this to put the link on the comments. It's a free journey, but you could also go to my Facebook page, Lisa ESP23. You can go to my website, lisaespinosa.net, under the events tab, and you'll find the links there. And I'll be going into, much more deeply about our soul and how our soul helps us with all of these things. But in this moment, again, the question was, where is perfectionism slowing me down? And what are the thoughts that keep you in that perfectionism loop? I shared some in the beginning, and some are some that I've had, some are when I work with my clients that are very common. You know, I'm not ready. I need to do this and this first. This and this has to happen first. It's just like this overly trying to control, right? Both control what you're offering to the world, because you're ultimately trying to control the world's response to it. And it can be, again, very subtle. It can be a very subtle thing. And so just welcome that answer in your heart. And then ask your soul to bring you the medicine, right? Bring you the insights, the healing of like what is the question here? It's like, how can I move forward? Even with this part that has a perfectionism programming right now, right? It's like, how can I move forward? What is the next little step that can untangle me from that? So maybe you have this bigger step that you want to take, and your soul has shown you that, perfectionism has been slowing you down there. And so maybe your soul's like, just take this little step. Maybe you don't share the whole class, but maybe you take this little step. Your soul is so gentle and loving and understanding. And so Deborah's saying the desire to control the response we get. I know. I remember, I think I've shared this, when a coach said to me, she mirrored back to me and she said, "Oh, you're being controlling." And I was like, I'm not being controlling, because in my mind, a controlling person was someone very like aggressive or kind of not caring about other people's what they wanted to do, or not accommodating. And I was like, I'm not like that at all. But then I realized what she meant. It was like I was so trying to perfect this, and I honestly don't even remember what it was at the time, because I wanted to control people's response to it. I didn't want people to judge me. I didn't want people to think I thought I was all that. I didn't want people to think I wasn't being professional. I didn't want people to think I was too out there and weird. And it was all about controlling the responses, people. And of course, we know we absolutely cannot control people's responses, right? And so as soon as we remember that, like, oh yeah, that's not even my job, thank goodness, to try to control other people's responses, but to recognize, oh, that's why perfectionism has reared its head here. It's because, when you want to share your medicine, it can feel, because it is such a reflection of who you are. And so it brings up all the fears, right? That it's like, oh, if I share this class and no one signs up for it, that's going to mean I'm a bad person, or nobody cares about what I have to offer, or I'm not important, or my offer's not good enough. And then I'm going to feel really bad about myself, right? It's like we make those things mean those things, right? And so that's why so many people, and I see this, thank goodness, I've had my coaches and my allies, right, help me, because we need to clean all of that up when we want to be in service. Like, our emotions can't be tied to the result, because that will actually stifle the divine's ability to work through us. Yes, Michelle, it feels very vulnerable. I mean, I remember when I was teaching in person at a yoga studio, and I've shared this before. I believe it's like there were two rooms in the studio, and I was a new teacher, and it was like it felt so vulnerable to be there waiting, like to see if anyone was going to come to my class, right? Because the way the studio was, in order to get to the bigger studio, which the other teacher was in, you had to come through my little studio, my room. And so when people would come to the door, I wouldn't know, are they coming to my class or are they coming to her class? And I was new, so hardly people knew me. And I just felt so vulnerable and so exposed. Like just at the time, my worst fear was like, oh my gosh, like what if no one shows up to my class? And not only will I feel bad, but everybody in that other room will see that literally no one showed up to my class, right? And I had to really be with that and like work with those parts, because what does it really mean? Did that mean I was a bad person if no one? I don't think I ever had no one show up to my class, but I definitely had a few times where I had like one person show up, which in some ways at that time in my career felt worse, right? Because I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be so awkward for that person or for me. I was like in the beginning of this career in kind of spiritual leadership. But what's the truth? Let's say no one showed up, or when that one person, what did it mean? My ego was making it mean, that teacher's better, I'm terrible, or people are going to think I'm bad because nobody showed up. That's all stuff for me to clean up and heal with compassion. And believe me, in the 15 years that I have been doing this work, I have had to really, really, really take time to heal that. And that's what I help my clients do, right? Because they all have these big dreams. They all have this medicine they want to share. And the fear of it, of the result not being the result they want, can keep them paralyzed. And then the world is deprived of their amazing, beautiful medicine. And so I'm going to end it here and just really, as I said, not only did you ask your soul today, okay, show me where is perfectionism slowing me down, and then you're also asking, show me how to heal that, right? And take this beautiful, image here, and just see, right, like that. Oh, rebirth, taking risks, stepping out of the chrysalis. And if you want to continue and go deeper into all of this, I'm so excited for this 5-day journey, which starts today at 12. You will get the replay if you can't attend live, but those of you who can attend live, you will be entered in a special giveaway. I would love to see you. I'm going to really talk about, it's like 3 practices to share your soul's medicine in your career, 3 simple practices. So I'm really going to break it down, because and I have been saying this for so long that I feel like sometimes people think it's just like a ploy that I'm saying. It's just like some sort of like branding technique or whatever. I don't know. But it's not. It literally, I mean, this was something that came to me years ago after my book came. So my book is now this year in March turns 8. What? And this year is a year 8. And my life number is an 8. So I'm all about 8s. So 8, 8, 8, 8, 8. So I remember when I was meditating, my book came out, and it was like, and I heard that from my soul, like, oh, you have a unique soul's medicine. And I was like, oh, and I had been saying that in different words, but it was like, oh, think about medicine. Medicine heals. Medicine is, and especially your soul's medicine. It's like nobody else has Deborah's or Jill's or Michelle's or anyone else who's here, right? If you went to the pharmacy of the soul land, there would be a little bottle or a big bottle, this gorgeous bottle that would say Jill, and this other bottle that would say Deborah, and one would say Michelle, right? It's like, and that magical elixir in that medicine bottle, nobody else has, no one else. So if you don't share it, literally the world is deprived. So I really mean that. And so it is, my medicine to help people share theirs. And so that's what, these 5 days are about. Like, and trust me, like when my soul told me to do a 5-day journey, I was like, really? But this is what we're going to do. So if you want to join us, I would love to see you there. I will be pulling some cards there as well. And there's something magical. I've done 9-day journeys before. I've done another 5-day journey. I've done some 3-day journeys. And there's something really powerful that happens when we go on an extended journey that way. And I know that's why my soul and the Divine Mother wanted me to do it, because we're here about to enter the year of the dragon. And told you my goal is to have 2024 be my most extraordinary year yet, and to take as many people with me as possible. So if you want to join that ride, I would love to see you. A couple of reminders. I will be here. I'm here every Wednesday at 11 Central for the transmissions. I can't believe we're in number 74 today. And the Mother Mary Masterclass this month is a very special one in honor of Valentine's Day. She's really going to be working on our heart, and it's a special $21 rate as opposed to the $33 rate. So if you want to join, I would love for you to do that. It's already on my website, my Facebook page. And if you're not on my mailing list, get on my mailing list, because that's how you hear everything. Okay, I'll put that also in the comments. All right, thank you so much, everyone. And I will see some of you, I believe, in our 5-day journey. I'm so excited. It is a free journey. But you know what? When I say free, it's free, like you don't have to pay money for it, but you are paying with your time, right? Your time, your attention, your investment in your presence. So I am asking for that. Right? So I want to be really clear on that, right? It's like there's many, many ways to invest. And I'm very honored when you say yes to these invitations, because I know your time is precious. I know your presence is precious. I know that the vulnerability that sometimes comes up in these journeys is precious. So I'm very honored. I offer you this invitation with great honor and respect for your journey. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. I will see you next week. Bye.